Hello. Got some good old mudslinging for you people out there. Johnny Rotten. I know you're supposed to call him like John Lydon as of like 1978, but I think the last name Rotten is cooler. But anyway, Johnny Rotten threw some shade at Ozzy Osbourne in a recent interview, according to this article. Um, Now, I'd say if you're watching my channel, odds are your knee-jerk reaction is to side with Ozzy, and I don't really blame you. It's an unprovoked attack coming when the guy is in super poor health, declining health. The whole thing really reeks of like bad taste on the surface. But that's kind of Johnny Rotten's stock and trade. Just kind of being a butthole to people. So we're going to analyze what he said on its own sociological merits and see if there's anything there. So, while Johnny Rotten does grant that he's a fan of early Sabbath, says Paranoid's one of the all time great rock singles, which, by the way, I've never seen any of the old punk rock guys say anything bad about Sabbath, except for, I think Steve Albini hates Black Sabbath, but I mean, he only likes like noisy shit anyway. But punks generally don't talk a lot of shit about Sabbath, is my point. I mean, Black Flag, The Fall, Flipper, tons of old punk groups have praised Sabbath. But anyway, so while Rotten does praise Sabbath, he has an issue with Ozzy's public image. In fact, it literally sounds like he finds Ozzy's public image to be limited. So, man, these headlines just write themselves these days. But anyway, Rotten goes on to say that Ozzy is responsible for making the working class appear stupid. And he says he is, quote, unimpressed by rumors of biting heads. All right, so I guess Rotten still thinks it's the 1980s, which I think isn't that the last time Public Image put out a record anyway? But he goes on to say Ozzy is, quote, selling loser lifestyle bullshit to the working class. Um, I get what Rodden's saying from like a certain standpoint. There's still those like leftover remnants of rock and roll excess culture where like getting fucked up and acting stupid is like romanticized, I guess. But I just think the guy's rant would have made more sense in like the 80s, like back when we actually had like rock stars who fit that definition. I mean, most people in rock bands since like I'd say the early to mid 90s are kind of just nerds. No offense, I just a lot more like wallflowers, and it's not really cool to like throw TVs out of a hotel room anymore, which is probably a good thing, really. But Ozzy's just a weird example to single out. I mean, yeah, Ozzy's working class Birmingham guy. He's been partying since like what 1962. But he's quit drugs, relapse, quit drugs, relapse, quit drugs. Hasn't really done any like crazy party shit in the news for like I don't know 20 years or something. You know, uh, Plus, when you consider that Rodden comes from a music scene that kind of glorified being like a heroin junkie to a certain extent, like the whole rant is just a little bizarre. I mean, Ozzy has glorified like the general spirit of partying in some of his music, but his audience was like, think of like 1982, 1983, like his audience was like suburban teenagers who were already like going to go out and smoke pot, get a keg of beer, like regardless. I mean, there's AC/DC, Van Halen, tons of bands, hell, it's Easy Top, tons of bands have had songs about like, consumption. So anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Personally, I kind of get a kick out of Johnny Rotten just constantly running his mouth, talking shit, being an old dickhead. I like Nevermind the Bollocks. I like some Public Image stuff. That Flowers of Romance record. That's really, really weird shit. But now, do I like any of that stuff as much as Master of Reality or Volume 4 or even Sabotage? Probably not, definitely not really. But hey, leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe.